Included in the Pearl sprouting jar set is a 1 litre glass germinator jar, a stainless steel saucer, a stainless steel stand, and a stainless steel lid and grate for the lid. So the lid comes apart easily just like this, and all of the parts can be washed safely in a dishwasher, and they go back together easily after they've been washed. The red seal then just helps to keep the grate in place inside of the lid. The stand is then placed on the saucer and the jar sits on the stand, and that allows water to drip out of the jar when it's filled with water. To use the jar then, all you need are seeds and water, and you can start by taking the lid off and putting some seeds in. So in this video there's broccoli calabrese seeds going into the jar, and there are 3 tablespoonfuls going to be put into it. Once the seeds are in the jar then, water can go in on top of the seeds, and for the very first time that you put the water in on top of the seeds, it's always good to rinse them just to get any dust that might be on the seeds, or just basically to give them a clean. So to rinse them, you just fill the jar up with water and pour it out like this, and the grate that's in the lid will stop any seeds from coming out through the lid. So once you have washed them for the first time, then you can let the seeds soak, and they soak in the jar just like this in the water, and this is only done once at the very start, and it's so the seeds absorb water and get started quickly. So this is them it's roughly about 24 hours after they were first started to be soaked, and what you do then is you drain them off through the lid like before, and you never soak them like that again, but you after this point you rinse them daily, and it's best to rinse. The more rinsing they get each day the better, because rinsing them just keeps the seeds and the new sprouts moist, and that helps them to keep growing. If sometimes you need to shake the jar like this, because the seeds can block the grate a little bit, and as the seeds grow into sprouts, it becomes a little bit harder again to get the water out through the grate. So when you have them rinsed out and you've got the most amount of water you can out of the jar by shaking it, you sit it back on the stand, and the remaining water that's in the jar should drip out like so. This is 1 day after the last shot there, and you can see here that they're already really starting to sprout. So from this point onwards, you really just rinse them 2 to 3 times a day. So the more the better, but if you only do it once, the results may not be great, because they could potentially dry out due to a lack of water in the jar. And rinsing them also keeps them clean, and also helps not get any things like mold on them. So after this shot, we're going to skip forward to 5 days after, but between here and 5 days later, or however long you're going to grow the sprouts for, this is it. It's just rinsing them and yeah, basically just rinsing the seeds and putting them back on the stand. So this is on day 5, and the sprouts, they're not very big at this stage, but they're ready, definitely ready to eat. And if you wanted, you could grow them on for a couple of days more. That's your own personal preference. Or you could also let them get a little bit greener in sunlight on a windowsill if you wanted to, but they're perfectly good to eat just like this. Best of luck with your jar, and happy sprouting.